Just concluded 2023 WAEC English Language Paper 3. Today we want to discuss section 4 of the paper, which takes care of question number 36 to question 40. Now, this section is popularly known as word stress. Alright, you are going to be given different words that are broken into syllables and then asked to identify the option, okay, that illustrates the correct stress pattern of the word. Now, when you're talking about word stress, we're talking about the particular syllable in a word that is going to be produced with a high breath force. All right. So this operation in oral English, okay, goes with several rules and with several exceptions. However, the basic things you need to know include things like how to stress a noun and how to stress a verb. Take note that if a word, all right, is a noun, you're going to stress the first syllable. That is, if it's disyllabic, if it has just two sounds or two syllables and it's a noun, you stress the fourth syllable. But if it's a verb and it's two syllables, okay, if it's a disyllabic word, then you're going to stress the second syllable. All right, so that's that about that. Differentiating between nouns and what? Verbs. And if a word is an adjective as well, you're going to stress the first syllable. So take note of that. So if you're able to identify words, all right, if you're able to recognize verbs, nouns, and adjectives, it will help you very great deal in dealing with questions in this section. Then another thing is when a word is now polysyllabic, that is when it's now more than two syllables, then there are certain rules that you must understand which will guide you in this section. And one of the rules include when to stress the syllable that is next to the last. You stress the syllable that is next to the last if a word ends in IC or ION, okay? If it ends in what? AL. So you are going to stress the last syllable to the end. I just mentioned some things. So if a word ends in ION, IC, AL, you stress the second syllable to the end. Alright? Now, the next rule that you need to understand very clearly before approaching problem in this section is when to stress the third syllable to the end of a word. You stress the third syllable to the end of a word if the word ends in ATE, or it ends in CY, or it ends in ENT, or it ends in ENCE, or it ends in ECT. Alright? Let's see what we're talking about here. So when a word, alright, ends in ATE, CY, ECT, ENT, ENCE, okay, you're going to stress the third syllable to the end of the word. That is the third syllable to the end. Now, there is one more rule that I want to talk about, and that is if a word is now 4 syllables or 5, all right? So there is a time, all right, that you are going to need to stress the 4th syllable to the end of the word. You stress the 4th syllable to the end of the word if a word ends in IVE, or a word ends in what? URE, or a word ends in AIR. So let's see what we're talking about. So these are the basic rules, although they have a lot of exceptions. Once again, stress the second syllable to the end of a word if the word ends in ION, IC, or AL. Alright, then the next one is stress the third syllable to the end of a word if the word ends in ATE, CY, or ECT. Then the next one is stress the word fourth syllable to the end of a word if the word ends in what? IVE, or URE, or AIRE. Okay, so these are some of the rules. Now let's look at what we have this year. Question 36, cumulative. Now the word is already split into syllables. You don't waste your time. You just recall that when a word ends with IVE, so you stress the fourth syllable to the end of the word. So the correct answer to this question is option A. Question 37, concessionaire. Alright, and now this is a word that ends in aire. You go back to our rules that we've already put down here. Aire, you stress the fourth syllable to the end of the word. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. Come. So option A is the correct answer. Question 38, horizontal. So what ends the word AL? That's just how to solve this problem. So when you check with what we've already written here, you're going to find that AL is second syllable. When the word ends in AL, second syllable to the end of the word. So here, this is the first, this is the last syllable. Second syllable to the end of the word is zone. So the option that has it here is option C. So horizontal. So is option C. Question 39, apathetic. When a word ends in IC, like we wrote here, you're going to stress the second syllable to the end of the word. There's the first syllable to the end, there's the second to the end of the word. So you have 10. Here is where you have it put in capital. So you mark option C. So the correct answer is C. Question 40, effeminate. Effeminate. Alright, so what ends the word? The word ends in ATE. So check with our rules. When a word ends in ATE, you stress the third syllable to the end of the word. There's the first, the second is the third. So where is this FEN stressed? Is option B, FFEN. So you mark option B as the word with the correct stress pattern. So that is that on the problems that came on word stress in this year's exam. They are very simple, okay, to handle. All you need to do is to try to commit a few things to your word memory. Like, when do I stress the second to the last syllable in a word? When do I stress the third to the last syllable in a word? And when do I stress the fourth to the last syllable in a word? Remember, you stress the second to the last syllable in a word if the word ends in IC, if it ends in what? ION, or it ends in AL. And then when do I stress the third syllable to the end of the word? If a word ends in CY, it ends in ENT, it ends in ENCE, or it ends in ECT, alright? So you're going to stress the third syllable to the end. So when do I stress the fourth syllable to the end of the word? Alright, you also need to commit that to your memory before you begin to handle problems in this section. If a word ends in URE, or it ends in AIRE, or it ends in IVE. Also, if a word ends in HOOD, like hood, then you're also going to apply this rule. So that is that on the section 4, okay, of the just concluded 2023 WAEC Oral English Examination. Please kindly join me in my next video where we shall be reviewing the answers, okay, to section 5.